Well, Matt, I know you were bummed that they canceled the Party Animals video competition because you were in the lead. You were in the lead of your features that you want to see in the Party Animals video game.
Mhm.
I was impressed with your video AI prompting skills. You made some
Thank
pretty
you.
good
Thank you.
stuff.
I've really been refining my prompts lately, and I was hopeful that I could get the W on that one.
Yeah, it sucks that they canceled it before pulling in the votes because I mean it was a $75,000 cash prize. That's not.
Talk about not reading the room at all, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely a choice on them for sure.
It constantly amazes me how many developers, publishers, people in the game industry are like they like open their door and they're like, "Hey guys, y'all excited about AI?" And it's like the whole world's like, "No,"
No, yeah,
collectively. And then they're like,
yeah.
"Oh, didn't see that coming." So the fun story that I'm alluding to here with Party Animals is that the devs announced a $75,000 cash prize for people to submit videos that were AI generated of ideas that they would like to see in their game. And
Yeah,
you can sort of see the marketing angle here. They just want to get the internet generating tons of party animal related
content.
content.
Right.
Fair enough, whatever. But because they asked everybody to do it with AI, the game got review bombed massively.
Not surprising.
Then they like tried to sort of backpedal a little, and they did like a community poll, and they're like, "We'll cancel the contest if you guys really
Yeah.
want that." And then the community
Right.
poll was like massively in favor of canceling the contest. And they're like, "Okay, I guess we'll cancel now."
I guess we're done. So I sort of the excuse that they give is like we wanted to open it up to everyone and not everyone's an artist, and so we not everyone could participate. It's like, well, yeah, that's what a competition is like
Yeah.
art, right? Like that's the whole point of a competition is the effort into it, right? So if you just eliminate the art side of things, well then yeah, it's just like you said, it's prompt making, which I guess there's, idea makers out there and
Yeah.
but yeah,
I
like I
get
said,
it. It's like it's not like a necessarily a competition. Maybe they were judging it based on the ideas versus the art itself, and they just wanted to use AI to let people like
mhm,
convey
mhm,
those ideas better. But it's just tone deaf in the sense that like the game community in
yeah,
general is like, we don't want AI slop. The internet in general is pretty tired of AI slop. Like, we're done with it. And then they come out and they're like, "Aren't you guys excited to do the AI slop contest?" And you're just like, "No, why
yeah,
would we be?" And then I, I'll admit, I'm a little annoyed with how much review bombing gets abused. Like, it seems like this
every
blew
little
up
thing.
this blew up in their face, but like, it doesn't affect the quality of the game that's out there, right? So if the game is good or whatever, people who are unaware of this dumb competition online makes no difference to them when they buy the game.
Right.
But the review bombing thing is just like, I think it's just abused a little too much.
I would agree that it is probably abused too much. A really good example of this is Overwatch
Yeah.
is I think still at like negative, and there's like right now there's 62,000 people playing. So
Yeah.
it's like, is it really a negative game,
Maybe
or
they
was it
all hate it.
review bombed so hard like 5 years ago that it's still at like this position that so like I get where you're coming from. I do.
Yeah.
But this is also just one of the only ways that players have the ability to actually like express their frustration and express like how
Mhm.
things they don't like about a game, and it's proven to work. So of course people are going to do it because it can kind of work.
Yeah,
So
it is
I get it.
interesting that they have this power. I wonder if Steam's gonna like let them continue to like kind of review bomb and continue that sort of power. Sometimes they'll police it a little bit if it's like
Hmm.
if it seems like particularly mischievous or kind of devious or like the what's happening around it is like really unfair to the devs for some reason. I don't know, like a content creator's like, "Go review bomb this game." And then I think Steam has stepped in a few times to like
Oh, I see what you're saying.
to kind of cull that a little bit, but
Right.
otherwise I think they kind of let the community have at it. Um,
Yeah.
which is interesting. I mean, you really got to tiptoe, but yeah, community not warming up to AI made content. Huge surprise.
Huge surprise.
But even without AI, actually, I have no idea. I was going to try and make a cool transition, but I have no idea if Forza 6 has any AI generated content in it. I was going to say Forza 6 looks amazing for no AI generated content, but I don't know. The game launched.
Yep.
It looks
in early access.
Early access, right.
Yeah.
It looks incredible. Like it really is insane. Still images of it. I'm like, wow, did somebody do like a 3D render in 3D animation software? And it's like, no, that's the game, dude. That's how it looks. Yeah.
And it plays very well too. I had a chance to play it early and during the early access preview. And it's a great game. I'm not a big car guy, like in terms of cars in general, but also just racing games. So I don't have like the best background for it. I've played Forza Horizon 5. I played the recent Motorsports and like Need for Speed and things like that here and there. But yeah, for someone who's more casual, I'm playing on expert. So I guess, I'm kind of gaming a little bit. But it's been,
Wait, how many difficulty levels are there?
There's a fair amount. So it goes expert, pro, and then unbeatable. And apparently unbeatable.
Wait, expert's the lowest skill level?
No, I don't know how many goes below that.
Okay.
But
that'd be funny if they started off with like
yeah. It goes like average, above average, highly skilled, expert, pro.
Okay.
Yeah. So and then there's even stuff below that, right? So it gives you a good, nice gradient of difficulties. Yeah, I didn't explain that very well. Yeah, it's just you're either an expert or you're a pro, and that's it.
It's actually a good idea. I'm gonna do that for my game. Just make the lowest skill level expert, so everybody feels good. Like I'm kind of an expert at this.
Dude, I'm kind of a gamer over here.
Yeah. Do you remember Doom? I don't know if the newer games did this. I can't remember, but the old games had the lowest difficulty was like, "Can I play now, Daddy?" or something like that. Yeah, and it shows you're
kind of insulting the person.
Yeah, your guy has a bonnet and a pacifier in his mouth for his health window. Like, it's good. Like that's great. The good old days of shaming your skill in game development. How I grew up. Trash talking at LAN parties and whatnot.
The good old days, you could say.
We should LAN someday, Matt. Do people LAN anymore? Is that
I'm sure they do sometimes. Nah, I don't think it's.
It's probably like
quite the
same.
I
know gamer rooms are still a thing where like somebody will have like 2 or 3 computers in their house, and then it'll be in like the game room, and so people will hop on and play together there. But I don't know how often people bring like 8 computers over or whatever, and then set up a LAN.
Right. And why would you need to set up a LAN when you can just play online and it's just more of just being in the room together, I think is what the most important thing in that situation, right?
Yeah. You have like a long gamer session. You know what? Let us know in the comments if you guys do LAN stuff.
I'm actually curious. Yeah.
LAN adjacent. I know a few people that still do similar things, but again, it's like it's already set up. Nobody's bringing gear over. They just come over and log in on their account on their friend's PC,
Yeah.
Yeah, it is cool. So I'm glad Forza's doing well. I'd love to think that I'm a good racing gamer, but I'm really not. I grew up on games like Carmageddon and Flat Out, which are like, how can you use the environment to make this turn? So it's like, okay, that car in front of me is turning. If I just go fast, smash him out of the way, then he'll slow me down and I can make the turn perfectly. So
I played a little bit of multiplayer. I was mainly just playing single player.
Yeah.
Just to kind of like, explore the map, get cars and everything like that. And the multiplayer is very much designed in a way where it's actually less about hitting other players, interacting with other players, and just trying to run your best lap times and stuff.
Yeah.
So there is hitting other people. But if you come in too fast and it thinks that you're going to hit someone, they'll turn into a ghost and you'll fly right through them.
Oh, interesting.
Also, if you hit a wall, it will slow you down. So you can't just slam into a wall and use that as a brake, because if you hit the wall, it will not only slow you down, but then when you get back onto the track, there'll be like slow down mode. You hit a wall and like it will actually slow your car down and everyone will be able to like pass you.
That's really smart, dude. That's they're like fixing the like inherent issues of online racing where some bro can just ram everybody and you're like, I guess the race is over.
Yeah. In some ways I like it because it's less frustrating, but in other ways it's kind of like that's sort of what was the fun of some of these other the limited amount of car games that I've played online is trying to weave in and out of the pack and try and survive the death ball.
But it sounds like you can do that, right? If you're kind of
a little bit, yeah. There is still some of that, so it's not completely gone. Like you can like nudge each other. And there's one guy, I don't know if he did it on purpose, but he like literally launched me off. I was trying to go around a corner tight, and he launched me out of the road so that I missed the checkpoint and I had to roll back. And I was like, that sucks. So yes, you can still do it, but it's nowhere near as prevalent as I would say some other titles.
Yeah. I've been subscribed to, I think it's like reddit./iRacing or something like that. And basically it's a Reddit forum where they just post racing incidents from like esports racing games. And then like the community weighs in on like whose fault it was. Because that's like such a big thing in racing is like, is it a racing incident, which means it's nobody's fault and two people just crashed, or like, is it that guy's fault and should he be penalized or whatever?
Right.
And it's just really entertaining because there's so much nuance to like who has the line, when you're allowed, when you then have the line and they have to give to you and all this stuff. It's fun.
And these are terms and things that for your average person would never even think about. And so I think having where people just fly through if they're going too fast is like just, because it can get really especially for a more casual game, which the Forza Horizon series is meant to be more casual, arcadey.
But you can take it seriously. So it sounds like they're respecting that to a degree, right? You're running your line and you're trying to get a good time, and some joker's gonna like ram you, and like, okay, they kind of pulled the rug out from under them on this one, so that's cool.
Overall, the game is just it's very fun. Like you're getting new cars. The tuning part, I don't really understand. I basically just download other people's tunings and upgrades and stuff like that. And that can be a little annoying because it feels like if you don't get a car up to like the top level of its class, you just lose races. And you're like, I don't know. I know it's a skill issue. I know that's part of it. But like, man, there are times where I'm like, I physically don't know how I'm going to get this car to get to the front of the pack at all. Like, it just seems like they're faster.
Yeah, you're gunning it and everybody's pulling away from you. And you're like, what's happening?
It's like, it's like, what can I do? And it's like, all comes down to how you take the corners. And sometimes you can make up some time, but it can sometimes just feel like it's the car that is the problem. And it sometimes is where you switch to a different car or you upgrade the car and all of a sudden they will equal out. Like, if your car all of a sudden like starts to perform a lot better, they also will perform a bit better, but not enough to like make a difference. Cause now I'm at the front. I'm like, whoa, okay. So it wasn't just entirely a skill issue.
Yeah. It's, I was reading that it's the top rated game of the year, apparently. So far,
good for them.
Which is pretty awesome.
Good for them.
Also kind of a cool this is nerdy gamer talk now, but, so Microsoft is trying to do this thing now that consoles have been doing for years, but they're trying to do it on PC now, where, when you install a game on Steam and it's like shaders compiling, and then you like wait for like a decade, and then you play your game, and like Forza, I think, was somewhere around like 90 seconds to get in before shaders compile on this version.
Okay.
There is actually a solution to that. Consoles have been doing it forever because consoles have a bespoke set of hardware. They just pre-compile the shaders and download those shaders, and then you're not compiling shaders on consoles, generally speaking. I don't know if that's universally the truth, but I think that is an option, at least on consoles. Microsoft did that with Forza. I think they've been trying it with a few games, and so they did it with Forza, and it took the boot up time from 90 seconds down to 4 seconds. And so what's cool about this is like every time there's a video driver release or you change a little bit of hardware in your computer, whatever, the game goes, new hardware detected. We got to recompile your shaders because otherwise it's going to be all janky and crazy. So you got to spend all this time recompiling. And this has been a huge issue in other games where they don't want to make you wait 2 minutes to get into the game. They kind of do this we'll compile a little at the start and we'll compile some while you're playing. And so this was like a huge issue in Battlefield games for the longest time where
Battlefield 5, I think in particular, if I remember right.
Yeah, BF5 was a nightmare. So like if you install if the game got an update or you got a driver update, you would basically start recompiling all your shaders and then the game would be hitchy. And every time you loaded a new map, that map would be hitchy for a while.
Yeah, like, why am I lagging right now? Like, what's going on?
Absolutely terrible. So like the idea now is that basically either Microsoft or the developers or whoever it is will pre-compile the shaders for each type of hardware. And then those will get, if it's done through the Microsoft store in Forza's case, it'd be really cool if Steam had a setup for this. But basically then Microsoft saves the shader compilation in the cloud. And then when you download the update for the game, it just downloads those compiled shader files for you. And then you don't have to compile anymore. And it's like, all right, cool idea. They can make it work for PC hardware.
Cool.
Nobody's ever to try. As far as I know, nobody's really tried to take on this challenge before, but maybe it'll inspire Steam to do that. And then we can start having games that aren't lagging to shader compiling. It'd be amazing, dude.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. Anyway, cool idea.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. Cause it's even when I'm working on my game, we constantly compile shaders like all the time because we're changing stuff all the time. So it's constantly compiling. So sometimes I'm like, is the game lagging? Did we mess up the code? Or is it just, it's compiling shaders?
It's shaders.
Yeah. So it is annoying for that kind of stuff too. Although granted, this would not fix development situation, but
that's fair.
Yeah. Anyway, nerdy talk over. Did you see? So I assume you played Subnautica too.
Oh, did I play?
You're playing it right now, actually. I see that
as a matter of fact, my character is being devoured by a Leviathan. You're not wrong.
Thoughts? Yeah.
It's fantastic. It is everything I wanted from Subnautica 2, or really Below Zero, because we got that spin-off game. This is kind of Subnautica 3 in a lot of ways. But I did last week, I did a playthrough of Subnautica 1 again. Start to finish, redid it. And great. Had a ton of fun. It's definitely showing its age in graphical fidelity and like the quality of life features. And then you jump into Subnautica 2 and you're just like, oh my God, this game visually is pretty stunning.
UE5.
Yeah. Lot of big UE5 games coming out, looking really good, and also running pretty well. I heard it can run a little bit spotty for some people though, because it's also early access. But for me, it ran really well and absolutely gorgeous. The shallows is where you spawn and you start the game essentially. The way the lighting plays on the ground with the waves up above, it looks very realistic to the point where I'm like, am I looking at kind of like an actual underwater? Because you don't spend a lot of time underwater. I'm assuming you don't really go to the beach all that often.
Me personally, are you saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I have gone snorkeling a bit, but not recently. Yeah.
So I'm not 100% used to what it looks like underwater. I can only base this off of what I've seen from videos and stuff like that online. But it just looks so goddamn real. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And that permeates throughout that quality, I feel like, permeates throughout the rest of the early access. This did not feel like an early access. It felt like a quote unquote, complete game with caveats. Because I'm not going to say it was perfect. Because there's obviously a huge lack of content in terms of like exploration. There was only a couple of biomes available. The things that I really liked from Subnautica 1 to Subnautica 2 was those quality of life improvements. Like the base building is vastly improved. It's modular now, where if you want to like bump out a little bit the side of your base, you can do so. You can bump out a little tiny portion of it, so you can kind of make like a little bit of a room that kind of jettisons off to the side. The windows, you can basically make patterns now any way that you want. You can make big and small. It's a huge improvement over the first game, and I'm really excited to see what people come up with when more of that content comes out and there's more options available. That was really cool. The environments and the animals that you're interacting with not only feel much more organic. There's this orange grass
Yeah.
in the shallows. And there's these little adorable crabs that have periscope eyes that are also orange. So you can tell that they just scurry into the grass, and now their eyes make it look like they're part of the environment, right? I'm like, oh, it adapted to that environment, right? And that you see that like throughout the game. There's these jellyfish that will attach to geysers and stuff like that.
The creatures are really cool. Like that giant crab that looks like a rock type thing. And then you're like, oh, that's like the back of a crab. Like, it's just so cool. Like they're not inventing new ideas per se. Like it's a crab or it's an eel or it's a fish, but it's the ideas that they add on to those creatures are super interesting.
Yeah, they make it feel like it's actually more of an environment and not just like, hey, we came up with this cool looking creature. Isn't that cool looking? Why did it develop this way in this environment? Who knows?
Yeah, there's a logic
it makes
to
it more believable. Yeah, it makes it much more believable. So that was really cool. Absolutely terrifying. There is a section where it's just a pit. I don't know if anything's... I actually never went down into the pit all the way because you can't really. Or maybe you can. But the beginning, you can't go that deep. And I was like, I'm just going to see how far I can go. And I literally just, there's no music down there. There's nothing to indicate that there's anything down there. I was like, I can't go. I just physically can't get myself to go any deeper because that thalassophobia or whatever it's called.
It's terrifying.
The fear of like the deep unknown water just kicks in, and my monkey brain, the reptilian part of my brain just, I can't do it.
Yeah.
They've only got a couple of leviathans. I won't spoil what they are. Great, terrifying, very well done. And overall, like, just, man, as I said, it's everything I wanted a sequel to be. But obviously they've got a lot more work to do because it is early access.
That's generally what I've been hearing from everybody who's played it, is like, it's kind of everything I wanted from Subnautica 2. And that's awesome to hear. Dude, the last time I was, one of the last times I went snorkeling was in Hawaii. And we were swimming over this bay or wherever we were, and the water just got so deep we couldn't see the bottom anymore. And I did not like the feeling. And then you're like making out shapes, and all of a sudden this giant ray starts coming out of the deep. And I was like, all right, so go back to shore. Got it. And, you know, we both just swam back to shore as fast as we could. We're like, all right, I'm just swimming because I feel like it, not because there's a giant ray coming up out of the depths of the ocean and I want a GTFO.
Yeah. Like, not only are like the creatures terrifying, but as you said, stuff just comes out of the deep and you're like, you're not really sure what it is in this game. And it can just be like the environment, right? Like you'll see a derelict, ruined ship down there, but because it's all murky, when you slowly get up, it's like, what is that? And then you realize that it's like a ruined ship, right? But it's because of it's just the setting itself just lends itself to that terror and that sense of wonder at the same time of what am I even looking at right now? Yeah. And it works really well. It's why Subnautica 1, I think, was so good.
It's cool to see kind of like it is ultimately the exact same premise, but like what a massive visual upgrade can do to the experience to an extent. I know it's more than just visuals, like, you know, with the creatures and the quality of life stuff, but also just when you're looking at an environment that just feels way more real and immersive, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in it. And on that note, it's why I'm like, I love everything about the design of Subnautica. It's just that scary angle that throws me for a loop where I've just straight up stopped playing games when there's like a section where it's like, now you have to cross the river and you have to like swim under the thing. And maybe there's an evil fish that's going to try and grab you. And I'm just like, nah, I'll just stop playing now. What
I find fascinating about this fear is it's so primal, but you enjoy horror films, right? You enjoy horror games, correct?
I don't enjoy horror games that much. Basically, a horror film has to be fantastic, and then I'll watch it, where I'm like, this isn't just a cheesy jump scare movie. It's like really, really good. So, that's where I am.
So the point I'm trying to make is you are someone who will enjoy and watch something that's scary, but then you get into like Subnautica and you're just like, there's just something about it where it's just like your body just says, no, I don't want to do this, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's one of those fears that really gets you.
Subnautica is one of those games where it's good enough where I consider overcoming that primal fear. And it's like, Yep. Well, it's cool. I'm glad that they're doing well. And apparently they sold like 2 million copies on day one or something like that. And
Crafting CEOs out here like, no.
I thought the bonus was literally just based on shipping the game by a certain date. I don't know.
I've heard they need to sell like a certain amount of copies or make a certain amount of money in a period of time. Who knows? But
it would make way more sense if it was a sales figure bonus as opposed to shipping by date bonus. But
it would also make sense not to. I mean, no offense to them, but it makes sense to not even offer $250 million bonus.
Yeah,
like that is an unbelievable amount of money.
Yeah, it's a quarter of $1 billion. As a bonus. Yeah. Bonus for a video game. You're like, bonus. Right. Most games should be happy to make that much. Period.
At all.
Yeah.
At all. Like that's a hugely successful video game, right?
Yeah.
That very few games have been able to surpass. Yeah, it's wild. So that would have been the smart call, I feel, is, a bonus great, but 250, that's insane.
Yeah. Well, I hope everything works out well for Subnautica because obviously the publishers could try and screw them over if they're still being petty about stuff, and whatever. And we all want good games and good dev teams to succeed here. So fingers crossed the amount of money that they're making, that evil CEO can look past his pettiness and just like support the game,
There is an interesting discussion around Subnautica right now is apparently the developers came out and said, or one of them, that this is not a game that you're going to be able to kill the creatures.
Yeah.
And you will only be able to kind of ward them off a little bit. And it's caused a conversation because people are like, wait a second, in Subnautica 1, you could actually stun and kill creatures. Why can't I do that in 2? And I was wondering what you think about it.
So I don't actually have an issue with this. Like almost every game you go around and you in Red Dead Redemption, you're killing the deer and skinning them and all that stuff, and it's, you just expect to be able to do that. As a gameplay mechanic, I don't mind them not having it there as long as it doesn't make the world not feel interactable, So if you if you had a thing that shot a spear, but the spear didn't do any damage to a fish, that would be weird, right? But if they just don't give you weapons to deal with it, I like the idea of a game that's not built around having to fight the wildlife, because then that does become part of a gameplay loop. And I think fighting, we've had this discussion a lot, but first-person style games, it becomes fighting NPCs can be really boring if they're not good or done well. And so, not having that as a mechanic, I am not deterred by much. As long as the game design around not being able to kill fish is good, then it's fine, in my opinion. So I don't really have an issue with it. It's more of if you got into the game expecting to shoot fish and shoot guns at stuff, then okay, I guess you'd be disappointed.
I think you nailed it when you said the interactivity, because right now, some of people's complaints, and mine to some extent too, is that there's a lot more things in this game that are trying to attack you. And a lot of it doesn't do a lot of damage, but it gives you things don't like you in this environment.
Yeah.
Compared to Subnautica 1, which I think is great. But it can be kind of annoying. It's like, I want to be able to actually shoot and take, or at least do something to stop them from being this nuisance, right? So I think it'd be cool if, as you said, there was an interaction where you could distract them, or you could stun them, or you could do something to each creature had some sort of weakness that you could use to get them to at least go away for a while in a significant time so that you can be not harassed, right?
You could drop it could be like the opposite of Dune, where you drop a thumper and then the fish scatter and then the thumper runs out of batteries or something, but
something.
Yeah.
The other thing is that if you allow players to actually successfully take out, which you could, Leviathans in the first game, The fear factor completely goes away. If you can just eliminate the threats, this is what happens to every horror game where if you give someone a weapon, like they're like, well, I'm just going to shoot them, right? And then the fear goes away because, and this isn't necessarily a bad thing, but a lot of problems, not problems, but that's what happens in Resident Evil games. You start off at scary, and then by the end, you're like, let's go, asshole, right? Like I'm the one who knocks now. And that can be fun, that can be cathartic, right? Where there is that evolution, but you do run the risk of now your game that was supposed to be sort of scary and frightful and you're skittish the entire time. It's like, no, I'm the juggernaut in this ocean now.
I haven't played it yet, so I don't know what the design choices are or what they're going to be. But yeah, some of the stuff we just discussed, I think, if you play that well and you give your character tools to get rid of the fish temporarily, right? You want to make sure that the tools are temporary. You can't permanently protect yourself, or maybe your base can have some better protection, but then as you go out, you have temporary tools to ward off fish, and that can be fun. It's kind of like the cloak in Arc Raiders, right? Where you can activate your photonic cloak, whatever it's called. And then the Arc don't see you for a little bit, and it's like, yeah, but you got a timeline for that. You have a time limit, so it's fun. You feel invulnerable for a little bit and you're like, cool, this is working. And then it runs out. So like just simple mechanics like that seem like they would be more than enough. But yeah, you don't want the player to feel helpless, essentially. You're like, we have all this amazing tech. Why can't I just shoot this stupid fish that kills me? So it's got to feel real.
Okay, cool. That's kind of where I'm at too. That's where I'm at.
Yep.
I can't wait to see what they do. I probably won't play the game until it goes into 1.0 though. I'm like, I got my fill. I got the taste that I was wanting. And now I'm going to let them cook for like apparently 2 years, which is going to suck because like I want the full thing now, but.
That's exactly what my friend said also. He's like, I think I'm going to put it down now. I enjoyed it, but yeah.
Yep.
Time to wait for 1.0. I can appreciate that. And I think early access is cool like that too, where you can give the devs some funding, give them some testing, give them all that stuff, and then, wait for 1.0. You don't have to ruin the whole thing for yourself or like play it so much and then you're like, well, this sucks. It doesn't even have all the content that it's supposed to have. And you're like, yeah, because it's early access,
Right.
It's good. Sounds like people are chilling and allowing it to be an early access game to a degree. Yeah. Did you hear that Sega canceled their Super game?
I did hear people mention this, yes.
So Sega, they're not like a huge powerhouse in the game industry like they used to be. And apparently they've been going a bit downhill lately as well. But one of their big plans to come back as a major competitor in the gaming space was to on one side, they were going to deliver all these smaller games, and then on the other side they were going to deliver this super game that was designed to bring in $600 million in sales and become this giant. It seemed like they're alluding to some sort of MMO style game that they were building, and then they just canceled it apparently, and they said it was due to increased market competition and the increase of other games in the similar genre. So I'm like, was this just another extraction game or something?
It sounds like it wasn't really the mega game they were trying to hype it up to be a game changer.
Yeah. Well, it could have been another marathon, another super game, right? But Marathon, they dropped hundreds
ever described itself as being a super game.
No. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's an extraction game that's who knows? Nobody knows what it is. That's the weird thing about this.
It's the next big thing. It's going to revolutionize gaming until it never comes out, and we never know about what it really was.
Yeah, but why I think this story is kind of interesting is we're seeing tons of AAA back out of projects right now. We're seeing teams and studios shut down constantly. Everybody's pulling the plug on Risk right now. They're all going, well, I don't know. That game just failed. I don't think we should make our game. Let's pull funding now before we lose a lot more, right?
Right.
So that seems to be a huge sentiment going around the game industry. So whatever this super game that Sega was working on suffered a similar fate. So,
Mhm.
I mean, I think that's interesting in that it's sort of leading into the same narrative that we've been seeing for a while, which is AAA backing off massively, right? Unlike we've ever seen them back off before from inventing new ideas and IPs and all that stuff. The other angle is that we may never know what this game was, which is interesting, right? Because like you get ready to hype a game, you want to keep it all hush hush, but from Sega's perspective, they invested a lot of time and money and research in developing this. Like, well, if we tell people what it is, maybe they'll steal the idea and then take the game to market. Maybe one day we want to come back to this. Who knows? Maybe we'll revitalize the project down the road. And
I suspect that it probably wasn't as revolutionary as we're being told it was, but also who cares if we don't know what it is, because it's never going to come out anyways. So it's like,
you don't like to know.
There is the curiosity. Don't get me wrong, but like my life won't probably change at all if I know what this mega project was, right? But
your gaming life won't change, but your curiosity,
my curiosity will be satiated. Yes,
it's like, what if I put it this way? What if like Brandon Sanderson was writing a book that was like it was like an offshoot to Stormlight or something like that.
Yeah.
And then he's like, you know what? I got 70% done and I don't know.
There would be some curiosity.
I got bored.
I hear you. Trust
you'd
me,
want to know, right? You'd want to know what that story was. Even if you couldn't read it, you'd want to like see a couple of excerpts from it, or like maybe some bullet points or something.
But then you have the issue of like, oh, it could have been so good. And then we run to the problem where it's like, well, of course something sounds good in theory. It's the execution that's the hard part, right? Yeah. So many gamers do that where it's like, oh, it had so much potential. Yeah. Exactly. It had potential. That's the hard part is finalizing and actually fulfilling said potential.
Yeah. I also look at it from the game developer angle, where I've done a lot of like hunting around game dev portfolios lately. And some of them are like 10 years experience. And then they've got like 3 things in there or whatever. They've got like 3 examples of different games that they worked on. But like a lot more games listed in their resumes. And, it's just like, oh, where's all your work? And it's like, they can't show it yet. The game hasn't been released.
Right.
You could spend years working on a game that's canceled and not have a single piece you could ever show anybody for your portfolio. And I'm like, man, that sucks. Like,
there's got to be some workaround. I imagine they would have to be able to have some
always.
way to be able to.
Sometimes they'll let people post stuff, if the publishers or whatever are cool about it. But especially for a sort of secret project like that where they're not giving any info, you're not going to get a portfolio piece out of it. So it's like,
right,
boy, I did 3 years of hard work building out character designs and environmental assets and lighting and all this crafting, and now nobody ever gets to see it. I can't show anybody it. I can't even put it in my portfolio to get a new job. I'm like, damn,
right,
that sucks.
That's hard.
I want somebody needs to leak it so we can see what the game was. Hey, speaking of games with lots of potential, I do love that term. It's thrown around so much, but
it is thrown around a lot, and I kind of roll my eyes a little bit when I hear it.
It's hard because it's so appropriate for most games.
It is, yeah. They're not wrong. Yeah. It's just used so frequently. It's like, yeah. Mm-hmm. That's the rub, though.
Yeah. So I was going to segue in Star Citizen with this one. Boy, oh boy. So they have a big, shiny new patch for Star Citizen.
And how's it going?
How do you think it's going, Matt?
If you had to guess. Great. I think there's a free flight event going on right now, correct?
A free flight event going on. Till they pulled the plug because it was a giant...
It was that bad?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
They're going to try and start it up again because I think they want their money, but maybe they are starting it now. I can't remember exactly the details on it, but this has been like, if there's one thing consistent about CIG, it's absolutely screwing up all of their free fly events because they go, here's a time for everybody to try out this game that otherwise would cost you a bunch of money to get into and test out.
Right.
Everybody welcome. They always do it around a big patch. The patch makes the game super unstable. Their servers don't never scale well to the increased traffic. And then everybody jumping on for the free fly has a terrible experience. And then the people who are already invested in the game can't play it for like the duration of the free fly because the servers are just on fire and bugging out.
And somehow it never burns them. And year after year, they make more and more money.
They are at record profits right now, Matt.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make any sense.
They're outpacing their best revenue year so far, and I'm just like, oh my god, what is happening?
It's crazy.
Yeah, they launched a pretty big ship this time around, the Ironclad,
the biggest ship ever, right? Or is this a different one?
They teased the biggest,
they teased it. Okay.
Biggest player ownable ship ever. It's a battle cruiser. It is stupidly big. It's the. Did we talk about this last podcast? It's built after the
little bit.
The space battleship Yamato, which is pretty fun.
Yes, you did mention that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So there's that. Anyway, the game servers are up in flames, but people who play the game regularly the content apparently is coming along pretty well. They're saying, you know what, the quality of life stuff is improving. Everything across the game tends to be improving a bit. Still, the nagging issues are still there, but lesser than they used to be. So like, it is moving in a positive direction. And I think that's part of why they are seeing record revenue, because even when the game was a giant flaming pile of inconsistency and crashes and everything, it was still making a decent amount of money. Now that the game is more playable,
becoming more of a game.
Yeah. It's generating tons and tons of money. So it's crazy how much money they make, because it's more than most games not only would ever make in their lifetime do they generate in just a year, but also like it's more revenue than most games would be expecting as a live service game to generate in a year. If you were making 100 million plus in a year, your live service game would be a huge success by almost any industry metric. And that's what Star Citizen is making right now. And my theory is that they're never going to move away from the pay cash for ship model because it's too attractive. It's
too lucrative.
If they pull the plug on that, then they might have to fire, 3/4 of their studio, So it's like, why do that, right? If you've got something moving forward.
Well, we'll see what happens when the game officially launches, and we'll see what the general public is like. I'm not. This is absurd. Like for your early access, fine. Like for your beta, but like you coming out here and you're asking for $1,500, however many dollars for a ship. Like
their new ship is like $600 or something
for a launched product, and you want people to spend that kind of money. Like, come on, get out of here.
Yeah,
so we'll see what they do.
They also did a character reset, which people are super pissed about, because the game really makes you grind to get reputation up so you can run higher level missions. And so they did a reset, and part of the reason behind the reset is that there's tons of money duping in the game. So like it breaks the economy, which they are trying to get more reasons to spend money and have an actual economy. So the broken economy ruins everything. You'll log on and somebody will just randomly send you 1 billion credits. And you're just like, okay.
Oh, good. I never have to worry about this ever again.
Yeah. And then you're like, oh, also, I don't get to experience any of the game's economy systems.
Progression.
Yeah. Progression. So they're trying to do it to save that. But also, people have already found new money duping, right? After the patch. So they're like, we patched all the money duping. Huge surprise.
And it's back.
People figured it out. I don't think they're ever going to be able to fully stop money duping glitches. I think they have to come up with a system that's like, hey, we're just going to track accounts that all of a sudden get stupid amounts of money, see where the money came from. It's like they built the economy. They can track the currency, right? It shouldn't be hard to figure if money's duped or not. And then just time out those accounts or whatever, use a punishment system. And guess what? Money duping is going to go down. Even if you can still stay on top of like trying to fix the actual physical glitches, but come at it from two angles. Because as far as I remember, just about every single MMO has had some sort of duping glitch at some point, right?
Yeah.
Like almost every single one of them.
Pretty common.
Yeah. And so like you can't do a character reset on a lot of those games. It's like, people would riot.
Rollbacks are not
Yeah.
or like a last resort, because if you start rolling back, people are going to be very upset.
You lose your player base, everything. So CIG needs to, in my opinion, start handling this in that manner. Even though it's a beta and everything's early, it's like, start building the tools to treat it like it's an MMO, right? Start building those policing tools where if you want the community to stop exploiting the game, then make it clear what the exploits are and start putting punishments in for people exploiting it, Fix the exploits when possible. Otherwise, use a punishment system just like every other MMO game has, right?
Yeah.
You got to have it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So long story short, game is getting better unless you recently played and it was a dumpster fire.
Yeah, it gets better and then they launch a patch and everything's broken for a little bit and then it gets better.
It's not reassuring when the whole server meshing technology, from what we were told, is supposed to alleviate all these issues where they can allocate different servers for different regions and how many people are in that region to make it so it's as smooth as possible. And we just constantly keep hearing about how the game just can't handle more players. It's like, is this technology ever getting to that point?
Well,
are we?
I'll clarify a little bit on that front. The servers used to be way smaller in terms of player capacity. So now that they've been implementing their first iterations, they do have the first phase of server meshing up and running. It's in the game right now. So when you play it, you will be on a server meshed environment.
That's cool. That's I want to hear that. That's because that's this.
Yeah.
That's the step, right?
So they have massively increased the player population on servers now. So they're basically just pushing it to the limit. And I think that's also part of why it doesn't feel like it's getting better in terms of stability in some cases. I think on average, people are saying it is feeling more stable, but like during these high traffic events, it's feeling worse. So the player population is increasing per server and the stability is increasing overall, but it is not scaling well when they're like, everybody come. And then it's just like the whole thing crashes. They better get that stuff worked out because they've had they have so much data on this. It's like, when a game company does an alpha and they're like, look, we're doing a server stress test. And then they collect all the data and they optimize for launch. So the whole thing doesn't crash and burn at launch. It's like Star Citizen's done this like 50 times now. You should have the data, guys.
You would think so.
Figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's fun. What do you think of Arc Raiders? Did we talk about this last week? I think it was.
I don't think we did.
I think this is post podcast.
Pretty big news for Arc Raiders too.
Yeah. So this is pretty similar to our thinking around Battlefield, but also we've talked a lot about this with Arc 2, is that a lot of their content has been a little underwhelming post-launch. It's not to say the game, the base game is so good, but some of their post-launch content has been like, all right, that's not as good as I was hoping it would be.
It's windy or it's cold out.
There's lightning. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're well done. Like they're interesting events in a limited capacity, but it's not content in like for most people's consideration, right?
Yeah, some of it you get on you're playing it because there's like a bunch of cosmetic things you might want or something, and then you're like, what am I doing? I'm grinding for like 6 hours just to get some new vest or something. And it's like,
and I'll wear this once maybe.
Yeah. And so that part of it gets kind of annoying. So the devs put out a blog post and they talked about how basically they're kind of agreeing with what we're saying, is that their content just they weren't able to inject enough big, meaningful changes to the game. They want to do a lot with Arc Raiders, and these constant small patches and updates are kind of screwing with their ability to do that. So they're going to aim for a 6-month in between content patch schedule.
Long. That's a long time.
And your face basically is saying what I think most of the community is feeling, is like, that's we might not make it. Arc might not make it with 6 months.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but
it's going to be a tough
it depends on what content is actually releasing in 6 months, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the big question. If it's something that is like a map like what we got recently with Riventide, I think that was the name.
Yeah.
And that's about it, with maybe like a couple of new enemies, then yeah, I don't think the game is going to really benefit from that. Man, either my internet or the camera is freaking out right now. I'll just continue because I'm sure the audio is still working.
You sound fine.
But yeah, so it really, like I said, it comes down to the content that will be released. If it's something actually substantial that really changes the game, I think people will come back, right? A lot of times, like in Escape from Tarkov, they had these big feast and famines where people would wait for a wipe, and wipes took a while to come out. Probably, I don't know if it was 6 months, but it wasn't like every 2 months or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
And that game literally lasted for like a decade with that kind of content update, right? Where people would come back, huge amount of people would return. The game by no means died, right? Like it was still definitely talked about and played all the time. And yeah. So if they can do something that actually impacts the game's overall meta and keeps people, excited for those big updates, then I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, I actually think this is the right strategy for them. And they already said, so the update that's coming out in October, their 6-month update, will be the biggest map in the whole game. They're going to rework the skill tree system. They're going to add a whole bunch of other progression mechanics to the game as well, like different ways to like improve and progress and all other stuff. I think I can't remember if is this patch or the one that's coming up, but you're going to be able to carry over items in between expeditions and stuff. Like it sounds like they're doing a lot of what we've wanted them to do, and they're like, you just got to let us cook. So I'm fine with that. Granted, I say that as somebody who's not playing Arc Raiders every single day. So like if it was my daily driver, I'd be, I could see being like kind of bummed by having to go 6 months without anything major.
Right. And I think it's because I come from that perspective as well. It's like, I'm not playing a game for an entire year straight. Like, it's just not happening. I bounce around all the time and I'll come back to it. It's like, does that mean you quit the game? It's like, well, no, I didn't quit the game. It just means I'll be back when there's something new to experience. And I think a lot of people have this mentality, if a game has a drop in its player base because people have, if they've done all the content, that means that the game is dying. It's like, no, I just think it's because they've experienced what is there and they'll come back when there's something more. There's a lot of doom and gloom around that, I think, when this announcement was made.
Yeah. It's reactive. People are upset that they're not going to get content for a while, but I think long-term strategically, it will be really good for the game. Also, a point I brought up when I was sort of talking about this in a YouTube video was it's going to suck the most for the next 6 months. And then it'll suck a little bit less the 6 months after that. And then a little bit less after that, because the stuff they're changing is fundamental
Exactly.
stuff.
They'll be building something.
Yeah. So there's going to be X amount more content as a base game package every time one of these patches drop. So when you do an expedition, the amount of stuff you're probably going to be able to do and the like seasonal events that they said they're still going to do will probably be playing off of a much bigger rotation of things to pull from and more missions to do and more ways to progress and all kinds of ways to evolve things. And they mentioned giving us actual backstory in this next update to like what's going on with the arc and progressing that gameplay towards, they kind of alluded to like reclaiming the surface a bit. So it's like, if the game can evolve into some sort of cool battle scenario where you're like actually trying to make a stand against the arc, like that cool. Sounds dope. Yeah. Evolve it. Yeah. I'm down for that.
It's, I don't know why I thought of this right now. I do. Rainbow Six Siege, when it first came out, content continuously, bam, 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 right? Yeah. And it's like, at some point, it gets to the point where it's like, it's too much. Like, and they realized that it was too much because there was too many maps. There was the characters is overwhelming for anyone trying to get in for the first time. Yeah. Right? It becomes way too much. So I don't think that's going to be a problem for Arc Raiders specifically, but that was just kind of an example I thought of where you build upon a foundation and then you're right. As time goes on, you don't necessarily need to have as much because there's already so much established. Yep.
You just need a little flavor, spice it up from time to time.
Yeah.
Now I see you got Battlefield on your podcast notes there. Any new Battlefield stuff?
Well, no, not new. It was just that when we had the podcast last time, you hadn't played Gulmud and
Oh,
it
yeah,
hadn't
yeah.
released yet. Yeah. So I just wanted to get your opinion on Gulmud.
Sure. Yeah. No, I think Gulmud's great. I think it's one of the best maps. And
yeah, I agree.
I don't think it's a matter of saying I told you so much towards DICE, because I think they immediately realized that the game was like lacking large scale content. It was more of a like, all right, we finally got it. It took them a while to get the large content ready, and they've got a lot more of it queued up with Wake Island and some of the other maps that they have planned. So it sounds like we're going to be getting a lot of good big maps down the road. And I think just what's funny about it is it plays. There's so much more stuff you can do on Gulmud.
It feels like a sandbox.
Yeah, it feels
like the first sandbox map.
Exactly. So you're getting that, like, you're going, oh yeah, right. We were missing this whole dynamic of Battlefield. Even though BF6 has been really fun, we're missing one of the most important aspects of the game. And now we have it back. And then you're like, now it's singing. Like, we get all the great quality of life and design choices from BF6, plus the large scale warfare that's also on a map where, in a way, Gulmud was smart in that they realized what was wrong with the first map and they just fixed it. So they just took a map that people played a lot in the past and they just made it better and more applicable to everyone. I can play just infantry on it if I want and not feel frustrated. So it's a solid map. It really exemplifies what Battlefield has always been best at, which is large scale content. And if they can just stay on this track record now, like BF6 is on track to be the best Battlefield ever,
And I think their track record has been pretty consistent, except for like the oil fields, right? Like the post-launch content,
and they're gonna remake
actually okay, and they are, And to their credit, they're going to go back and remake that in new Sobek City. So it's going to be new Sobek City.
Yeah, we could just throw that map out for all I care.
Just throw it. Just put it in the dumpster. But so that's great that they're going to be doing that. As going back to the whole sandbox, it's so refreshing. Like, I want to be a tank. I want to just tank this match. That's all I want to do is just ride around a tank. I want to be in a helicopter. You can just fly around in helicopters pretty much the entire match. I want to be someone who takes out the tanks, right? You can focus on. So it's nice to just be like, I'm going to do this and have this experience and have something that is pretty different compared to if I was just running as an infantry, which is what you're going to be doing on most other maps. And so that was very refreshing. How did you feel like a little bit that, because this has been a critique that a lot of the game has had, feels like a lot of, like, it's kind of hard to know where you're getting shot from sometimes, and it feels like death can happen at any angle. I was struggling at moments where I'm like, man, this is tough to survive, but that could just be because it's new and people are learning it.
Yeah, I felt that way when the game first came out, or rather, I was playing the first betas on, like, even that kind of large. What's the Rocky Hill map? I forgot what it is. One of the first maps that came out.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I always struggle to remember that.
Yeah, there would be people that like glitched up into the rocks and the hills, and there's certain spots in that map where the engagement angles are like, okay, so like anyone in a mile radius of me can shoot me, and I felt that on those maps there. I think that is a map design issue where once the engagement angles get too wide, it doesn't feel like you can compartmentalize your combat zones really, and you're just like, well, anyone.
It's the Dawnbreaker problem.
Yeah. So I do think parts of the map have issues, but also snipers got to snipe, Matt,
Yep. Snipers got to snipe. It's true.
You got to give them these big open fields where they can just hit anybody at any angle. And then you got to appease the sniper. So I'm willing to give them a little bit of leeway there, because if you give everybody sort of compartmentalized combat zones, then snipers don't get all their fun angles and stuff. And tank drivers can't nail you from, a mile away while you're trying to cross a field or something. So you got to create these open. Yeah. I mean, it's
and I experienced it too. So I'm not going to act like it was, not me either.
It's a legit critique. And I think it just comes down to like, it's like, you remember when you got good, after you played Gulmud a bunch, you knew when you had to make a crappy crossing, right? You're like, crap, I got to cross between B and A. I look around, I don't see anything. I'm going to go for it. And then you die, and it's like, you just sort of get used to it. And I think part of this map is that we're not totally used to like where the really crappy zones are going to be. So maybe once we're used to that, we'll be like, all right, we just got to make a run for it. And then maybe you'll start throwing smokes down more consistently to try and whatever. I don't know.
Thankfully, it's way better as infantry this time around. It's not even close. The amount of cover and little ledges that you can use to actually traverse is night and day. It's overall, I think it's a better Gulmud than Battlefield 4, pretty much in every respect.
Yeah.
That might change as we move forward, but I really like it.
Also, when I get frustrated on these maps, and I noticed I did this on Firestorm a lot, because Firestorm has similar situation of like, especially when you're on that open road, there's just, you're getting hit by crazy angles, and you're just like, I can't possibly take cover. There's people on like towers everywhere. There's mountaintops. There's tanks. I would just end up going like DMR with like a suppressor and just start ruining people, move quickly and quietly, take a tiny little nook of cover somewhere, peek out, drop 2 or 3 guys, move out. So you just kind of like adapt your gameplay a bit to the situation. I can't sprint around quite as much, but I can prone crawl through the tall grass,
I can be a rat.
Yeah. Very happy with the quality of BF6 right now. And I hope they keep it up. So it's just nice to see. I hope this continues. It's nice to see DICE back in form, for a change.
Yeah. I just hope that they can keep the quality going forward, because that's what's going to matter.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be hard to screw up Wake. You could screw up Wake, but
you definitely can screw up Wake Island.
Yeah. I think 2042 was my least favorite version of Wake. It was frozen, I believe.
Was 2042? Did 2042 have a Wake Island?
Yeah. And sorry, not 2042, 2142.
Oh, 2142. Okay.
2142 had a frozen Wake Island. There's two. The naming for Battlefield is driving me crazy.
Yeah.
It's not quite as bad as Call of Duty yet, but it'll get there. Frozen. So you're like, all right, well, if there isn't like a barrier, a water barrier, and it's just silly, I didn't like it as much. You're like, oh, it's the future and the oceans have frozen over. And you're like, okay, well, don't do your famous island map then, because that'll...
Because then it's not Wake Island anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably fine. I played it so long ago. But
I'm looking forward to their version. The fact that there's going to be that central point too, where infantry and boats will be able to take the point, looks really neat. I like the idea in theory. We'll see how it's executed.
Yeah, that's kind of a throwback to 1942. A bit where when you could control like the destroyers and the battleships in it, and there were points that you could just drive a boat into, and you're like, there's nothing out here but a flag and the ocean. So this is a naval point, and so we're gonna have a naval battle. I mean, granted, 1942 tried everything and a lot of it didn't work, like they're like, how about submarines? And you're like, boy, this sucks. Because they had subs in that game and it was weird. If I'm remembering,
that was the
correctly.
one Battlefield I did not play. I technically played it once, but
it had
that doesn't really count.
It had an experimental weapons DLC that added jetpacks to the game. Nice. World War II jetpacks. Which was weird. Some of those DLCs did not work that well, but it was a solid game, man. I played that one at LAN parties, actually. That was nobody wanted to play that at LAN parties because I would just destroy them in airplanes. Nobody knew how to fly, so I was like, I'll just kill everybody in an airplane.
I literally will just ruin all of you. Nice.
Yeah, and they're like, let's go play some other game where Charlie's not gonna
level cap.
Us. Yeah. I wasn't level cap back then, Matt.
I was.
Did you have
I was the darkness.
Did you have a different handle back in the day?
No, my handle has pretty much been Matimio my entire life.
That's pretty funny.
Technically, when I played like what was it called? Delta Force 2, I think. I named my character the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
And then I leveled up in my head and I became the the White Knight.
Oh my god,
Super
Matt.
cringy thinking back on it. But I was like,
Yeah.
I was very young, right? I was very
Oh,
young. So
yeah.
I was like, I'm no longer the Dark Knight. I'm the White Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I played when Bungie was an RTS company and they made
Yeah.
Myth Soulblighter,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna rock the name Juggernaut because that's
There you
like
go.
people will know me and me alone
Right.
for that
It's the
name.
Juggernaut.
Nobody else will take that name. So that was me as a kid thinking that like I'll somehow be known as the Juggernaut. Like, no, him.
The Juggernaut.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. And then I think later I took on Rakanishio, which was my favorite little enemy guy from Diablo. He was the little lightning enchanted guy that would guard the stones in Diablo 2. And every time you try to go to the portal stones in the first act, he always looked super unimposing. He was just a little demon, and he'd just come towards you, and you're like, "Who is this guy?" And then he'd be lightning enchanted and just instantly kill you, and you're like, "Oh my god!" And his little name always stuck with me, so I was like,
well, fair enough.
Yeah, but I put those behind me because I mean,
you did,
yeah,
for branding purposes.
For branding purposes, Matt. I used to have a blog before I was a YouTuber, a gaming blog. That I think I had Level Cap as the handle on it. I was like, I'm gonna write. That's back. You remember when blogs were big?
I mean, yeah. I never really participated or read them, but yeah.
Yeah, it was a thing for a while. So it was pre-YouTube, basically.
Yeah.
So if you wanted, hot takes on gaming opinions, you would go to somebody's gaming blog. Yeah.
Yep.
So I guess, that's what I was doing pre-YouTube is the Level Cap gaming blog. It's probably still out there somewhere. Gosh, I shouldn't say that. It's probably super embarrassing. I'll have to
probably
go see what I wrote. There's some EVE Online stuff on there too. Back when I was playing EVE. Yeah, no.
The hot EVE Online takes.
Yeah, I was a bad person in EVE too. I wasn't a good person, Matt.
You've changed.
Thanks, dude. What was fun this weekend is I showed the kids Project Hail Mary. We watched it as the family.
Oh, nice.
In 2 sessions because it's a 3-hour-long movie. And the kids were going crazy.
I didn't realize it was so long.
It's pretty long, and they loved it. I wasn't sure how they were going to like it but it's really fun throwing sort of movies that can have more adult themes in them or concepts, I guess.
I was gonna say, I don't think they're gonna understand the science at all because it's very sciencey.
Yeah, they were following surprisingly well.
Good.
I'm totally into it. So that was really fun watching Project Hail Mary with the family and watching the kids love it. So I was like, okay, they'll get a certain amount of it now, and then like 2 years later or whatever, they'll watch it again. They'll be like, oh, I get what's happening now, and then give it a few more years, and they'll get even more depth out of it, But it's one of those fun movies that I think was well crafted to be enjoyable at all ages.
I've heard a lot of people are saying it's one of his best movies for God, what's his name? The main character.
Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling, yeah. A lot of people are saying it's one of his best movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's fantastic in it. And he has just a really good supporting cast as well. Everybody is good in that movie. The puppeteering is incredible in that movie. And I'm a big fan of his movie, The Nice Guys. That's one of my favorites of his, but this would be a close second in terms of Ryan Gosling.
He's made some bangers.
Yeah, he's a great actor. Yeah, it's kind of undeniable.
Yeah.
How about you? You watching anything good?
I started reading the second book of Sun Eater. I'm slowly making my way through it. It is a tough read, but it is also great so far.
Sun Eater.
Yes. Have you heard of it?
No.
It is a story about a guy who, this isn't a spoiler because it's literally the premise. He's telling the tale of his life and how he destroyed a sun. And
a space opera. Hey.
It is a massive, yeah. So the first book I found to be pretty slow. Basically, it's kind of laying the foundation of like who this character is, his background, And the second book so far has been, for me, been a lot more entertaining. It kind of blends a little bit of sci-fi and fantasy a little bit with its themes, but it also it's definitely sci-fi, but it's on a scale of, so if you needed to travel around the galaxy, how long would it take you to get from places, and what would that mean to people that around you, and when you reach that location? So it can take upwards of like 20 years to reach a planet, and you're in a fugue state, so you're just basically in cryo freeze.
Yeah.
And so you haven't aged, and everyone there is now 20 years older. Right.
Yeah.
And how would society and how would everything kind of work around that, right? And so it delves into that and the logistics, and I'm assuming later on it's going to get into like war, and like there can be a front line, and it can take you 50 years to get to the front line. And that front line is now moved, obviously, because it's been 50 years.
Yeah.
So really, really interesting sci-fi.
You just
themes.
I hope the war's over by the time I get there, dude.
Yeah, exactly. So really, really neat premise. Like I said, the first book for me didn't really resonate too much, but I'm liking the second book a lot more now. So
okay.
I'm hopeful that it keeps going.
Do you think, because I like my sci-fi epics.
Yeah.
Should I read the next 3 books in the Red Rising series, or should I try this one instead?
Oh boy. Well, oh boy. I always recommend Red Rising because it's like one of my favorites. And I think Red God comes out semi-soonish.
There might have been enough time for me to get back into Red Rising where I'm like, okay, I could see bad stuff happening to these characters that I love again. Like I've given it enough.
Yeah. I mean, it introduces like a bunch of new characters, and it doesn't just follow Darrow anymore. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Cool. I actually did start the series, and I didn't get too far into the first book, but yeah.
Yeah. I love, it's like I said, my one favorite series for a reason. So I will always recommend Red Rising.
Getting back to the cryo state thing, I always found I like the way that the Alien movies handled that. I think it's the 3rd or 4th. I think it's the 4th Alien movie, where part of the premise is like there's basically these guys that hijacked a cryo ship, stole all these cryopods, and are now selling them to like the military research complex or whatever. And so these people that are in cryostasis, like on a trip to like go wherever, go start a new life in some new system or something, wake up to these alien eggs hatching in front of them and just like jump on their face. And I'm just like, dear God, that's dark. Like
that. Yeah. It's like, all right, you're going to wake up in your new home, and you wake up and then it's aliens. Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, where am I? Oh my God, I'm a science experiment. Like, that's brutal, dude.
Not great.
Yeah. I mean, and Project Hail Mary deals with the cryo idea as well. Sort of cryo.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Cryo adjacent technology. It is an interesting concept, and it's like, what I find funny is like in Hail Mary, it's not really a de-aging system. It's a like, you're going to go crazy if you're on this trip for 4 years or whatever. So we're just going to put you to sleep so you don't have to go crazy. But like the thing is like that was super experimental in the book even. So it's like, how do they know that people don't have like waking dreams type situations where they're like fully conscious in their dream state and just going out of their minds in their own heads, like
right.
Oh, that's like a nightmare too, right?
Could make a full book out of that.
It's just like a paralysis where you're just like, cool, I'm just gonna.
You could make a short story about that concept, honestly.
Yeah, dude. I didn't read the story. I read the headline, but it was talking about some teen that like was in a coma for like years. She wakes up and is like devastated because in her head she was living some alternate life and like had a family and children or something.
Yeah. I heard that too. They like lived a full life. They had children, and then they woke up and they're like, what?
Yeah. That's like that Star Trek episode from TNG. That same thing happens to Picard, where it's like a really famous episode from the show where they find this old probe from like an ancient civilization, and the probe like induces him into this weird dream state and is transferring all its knowledge to him. But he's gaining the knowledge by living an entire life in the world of these people and like absorbing them. And so he has a full life with a wife and children and society, and he becomes a well-respected member of the community, and then just wakes up back on the bridge of the Enterprise like an hour later. And he's just like, oh, like,
devastating.
Yeah. There's did you ever watch the show Rick and Morty?
I was just going to bring it up. There was the game that they call, they like experience a full life, and then they die. He dies, and then he's like, oh, what? Oh,
yeah.
What? You got the high score. Good job. It's like, what do you mean?
So funny. They do it in the arcade environment where you just pay money to go to an arcade. You're like, sure, I'll live an entire life. But like, it's funny because I think it's called Roy or something like that. And like Morty, of course, it does the most boring life ever where he's like a carpet salesman. Yep. And takes no risks whatsoever and just dies. Yep. And then like when Rick plays, he goes crazy and like takes over the universe or something. And I don't know, it's just funny. People are like watching the game from the sidelines. It's like it's a funny play, tongue-in-cheek play on the same concept.
It is, yeah.
It's a fun idea and kind of terrifying to know now that apparently can happen in a coma. Dear God.
Well, maybe not to that extent, but yeah, we don't really know what she experienced because it was her.
Apparently she was devastated or something.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah.
And she needs like therapy because it's like, yeah, if you truly thought that you had children and you had a life and then they were all ripped away because you woke up, that would be traumatic for sure.
Matt, what if this is a dream, dude? What if you're not a streamer IRL, What if you're a carpet salesman?
What if I'm a carpet salesman? Well, do I have a beautiful wife and kids? Like, am I happy?
Yeah. Fun concepts to think about. I still think that they should end every single bad movie with like, oh, it was all virtual reality.
It was all VR. Let's go. Because that trope definitely doesn't sting.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying a bad movie in the bad movie.
Yeah. All the bad movies. Yeah. All that was just fake. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Well, I think we covered all the fun stuff in gaming. Anything else you wanted to chat about, Matt?
No. Nothing particular.
Cool. All right, man. Well, everybody, thank you guys so much for dropping by, hanging out with the podcast. If you enjoy our podcast, you can support us further by becoming a Patreon member and checking out our podcast recording live and hanging out for a little post-podcast chat session with us. But otherwise, just showing up, listening to the podcast, enjoying it means a lot. Leaving a comment. And Matt's always going to leave you with some very useful advice.
So this week's useful advice is I was trying to because I wanted to relate it to Subnautica. So there's a portion in Subnautica where you need to get some loot, and I'm trying to keep it as vague because I don't want to spoil anything. But let's just say if it seems like something in life is too good to be true, a lot of the times it's because it is, and just be careful because
I'm not playing it.
You're not playing it? Okay.
Just because you said that. Just because you said that. I was like, you know what? Maybe this time I can play an underwater game. And then you said that. No, sealed the deal. Not playing it.
Yeah. So just be careful out there. If something does seem too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah. I think I might play it tonight a bit.
Yeah, give it a try. I think you'll like it. It's great.
Cool. Well, everybody, thank you so much for dropping by. We appreciate you. Hope you have a good rest of your week. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Take care.